let's dig into this. I haven't done a compulsory video in a while because the compulsory ones are, by and large, stuff that annoys me. So, I've been a bit unmotivated, haven't really done stuff as much lately, and I'm pretty good at avoiding stuff I don't like. So, haven't been a lot of these in a while. An article. Basically, let's dive into this. The premise here is that CBS is releasing Star Trek Discovery. It's a new series based in the Star Trek universes, I suppose. And it looks like, after all, it is going to be a reboot. They said they wouldn't be rebooting it, it would be in the prime timeline. No, it's full on a reboot. And there's been Twitter commentary about this, because it's Twitter, and there's something like 300 million active Twitter users, so of course some people are going to say some shit about Star Trek, particularly about this series. Another reboot. Of course people have something to say. What's more is, the premise of this video is that some of them are specifically drawing attention to the fact that there seems to be a pall of political correctness. Some are even saying SJW. And, fine, it's just bullshit on Twitter. It's mostly for shitposting. Who cares? Except there's this one article that someone posted. It was Brad Reed posted, "White genocide in space. Racist fans see that diversity in new Star Trek series." And that caught my attention, and I'm like, kind of, not really. Like, I disagree with the premise there. And then I'm like, I'm going to respond back to that. And then so I'm like, I wonder if there are any other articles where someone had this exact same thing, like a damn racist talking smack about Star Trek's diversity. And as it turns out, there are a whole bunch. Brad Reed on rawstory.com pointed out that the YouTube trailer got a lot of negative reaction. Right off the bat, I'm just going to state the obvious. People are having flashbacks to Ghostbusters. Once again, it's a beloved old franchise being rebooted, and they're seeing a lot of SJW and political correctness in it. So, people have a lot to say. This one is this one by Charles Pullum Moore. Racist Star Trek fans decry Discovery's diversity, revealing they know nothing about Star Trek. On first blush, I actually agree with Charles. Sorta, kind of. Star Trek, one of the things that made it, its elements that appeal to people, the optimistic future, where original series, you have on the just the bridge crew, you have this Japanese guy, bearing in mind this is post World War II, Cold War era that it came out in. You have a Russian guy, so Soviet Union is now cool with the U.S. You have a black woman who's working the comms. She's like one of the bridge crew. This is you have this weird alien guy who's half human. It's a hopeful future where people get along with each other and go on wacky space adventures and seduce green women. Then this actually starts a phenomenon, because that's exciting. The diversity, Pullum Moore here isn't wrong. The diversity was part of the appeal of the original series. And as far as political correctness goes, no shit, the Next Gen in particular, Next Gen, well, going through the Star Treks briefly, Next Gen, very politically correct. It was in its DNA. I love Deep Space Nine, but looking at it objectively, the first 3 years are kind of blah. It's very much same old, same old. They didn't know where to take it. And then very suddenly, at just one point, literally in the middle of a 2-part episode, the time travel and a transporter malfunction. It has all the cliches. it was boring, same, same, same. The first half of it, second half, suddenly everything's amazing. After that, Cisco shaves his head, grows a goatee, becomes a total badass. Worf shows up, shit gets real. It just magically became. Right after that, there's a specific point in the third season, and then moving into fourth and onward onto the end of the show. It was just awesome. So, my point being, maybe Star Trek Discovery is gonna suck, but maybe it'll if it gets the time to do so, if it gets the opportunity, maybe it'll get better later on. Moving on, Voyager, I hated. Star Trek Voyager, because it was very politically correct. It was very unsubtle about it, and it was very poorly written. I just thought the PC. I'm not going to spend my time being preached to, being talked down to by a goofy sci-fi series. Working these themes into a plot is fine. It's fine and good. It's been done well. But that didn't do it well. It was mostly moralizing, and it was boring, and I hated it. I really hated Voyager. I understand some people loved it. I hated it. Not because the main character was a woman, simply because I thought it was terribly written, and I didn't really like the characters. Been holding off on this too long. Alright, so on to the racist tweets. That's what I really wanted to get to, because they're kind of awesome. One of which, David Lenton. I'm just going to read the ones from the different articles. David Lentner, Star Trek Discovery, more like Star Trek Ma Forced Diversity. I love that one because it made me laugh. Star Trek Discovery, the only white males are a Vulcan a-hole and a wimpy helmsman. The show appears to be fully SJW converged. Make no mistake, a non-white future is not Star Trek. It's a planet of the apes. Look at Detroit and Los Angeles. This is America's future. No, this is a crazy motherfucker who tweeted some nonsense. How this made one article, it's like, okay, it was a slow news day. I need to write something. The fact that you have 5 different people writing the same article. Let's see, Kay Stewart writes in his tweet, not spending money on Star Trek Discovery, it's racist. Producer went out of his way to make sure no white American in cast. Well, that's clearly not true. And that's clearly not true. It's bullshit. These are terrible commentaries. Tyler Burden, let's all celebrate the new non-white male Star Trek. And once again, on first blush, I kind of agree with them. It's like, look, these are just bullshit tweets. Like, I'm taking them less seriously than these guys are. They wrote entire articles about them. But at the same time, like, yeah, Star Trek's always been about diversity, and for better or worse, it's always been about PC culture. But at the same time, I understand where these tweets are coming from. There's some of them are like, they're genuinely concerned this is going to be another Ghostbusters. Like, this is going to be the new thing. Because they see, not incorrectly, I think, that trying to appeal to the SJW crowd just ruining stuff, just making it boring, bland, and awful. Moving on. Star Trek Discovery of Feminism Edition. I loved Captain Janeway, but please don't ruin Star Trek with tons of political correctness. By Joshua 8598. Well, that's a good point. And he's not saying it sucks already, or I even hate it for that specific reason. Just don't ruin it with a bunch of political correctness. Darren writes, it honestly looks like Star Trek Discovery is completely disregarding any established lore canon. I like this one, because there's no reason for that to be in this article. He actually wrote, reactions like this are typical according to experts in Twitter. Whatever. It represents opposition to change. Well, hold on a damn minute. I mean, it's like, that isn't change, that's just rehashing the same crap. And I've seen the trailer. It's actually pretty bland. It's like it's set on some planet where it's all dusty. It's like, what is this, Dune? This doesn't look like Star Trek. There's a brief shot of the bridge. Once again, it doesn't look like it's in continuity with the old series. It doesn't look like it's in continuity with the J.J. Abrams movies. It is its own thing, and it's like another reboot. And I'd argue that doesn't necessarily make it bad in its own right. Maybe this series needs a reboot. Pardon me, this series probably really needs a reboot. But no one's asking for that, aside from me, perhaps. Like, I'm legitimately, that's maybe just a thing they should do. Just reboot the thing, give it time to breathe, and let go of some of its vast canon. Redo some stuff. You're better off. You're better off for doing it. Okay, here's a good one. Star Trek Discovery, the mad scientist, commented, "The Star Trek Discovery, another prequel no one asked for, lacquered in feminist political correctness and shit writing." Okay, mentions feminist political correctness, but also shit writing and the fact that this is a prequel no one asked for. It's not wrong. Mad scientist is not wrong. Let's see, Star Trek Discovery, aka SJW, The Next Generation trailer drop. Seems BLM, Black Lives Matter, made the trailer. I don't know, I think some of these comments are kind of fueled by the fact that there's no information here. I mean, in the trailer, there's some stuff about, how you'll never be Vulcan enough, and then there's another thing like you should try out Command, and it's like we don't have an overarching story at all. I mean, we don't have anything. It's like you have to have more than that, and this isn't showing us anything. From what I understand of the guy who quit the series, or got fired, a huge amount of studio interference from CBS. It's like they're changing their minds. They completely trashed all the footage they'd done. They pushed it back again. They're completely retooling it over and over again. This is like Suicide Squad or or Batman v Superman, where it's like we're just changing. We want everything. We want it to be funny, and we want it to be grim, and we want it to be gritty, and we want it to be superhero. And it's like, make up your goddamn mind. Pick a plan and stick with it. Or else you're just going to have random crap. Random mushy crap. And shame on you guys. That's 2 of you now who've commented on Joshua, who said, "Star Trek Discovery, a feminism edition. I loved Captain Janeway, but please don't ruin Star Trek with tons of political correctness." That is a sincere and legitimate and reasonably articulate tweet. It's like, look, I loved this thing. Don't fuck it up with, political correctness. That is a legitimate concern. And I'd say, like, why draw attention to it? What am I making a big deal about it for? Because you started this article with racist fans see the diversity, and you picked out this guy. This guy doesn't seem like he's racist. There's no mention of race in this tweet at all. He's just worried that it's going to be wrecked with political correctness. I think that is a perfectly 100% legitimate concern. Oh, let's see. Moving on. I want to finish this. It shouldn't be this long. Oh, coffee. I love you so much. Alright. Last one. And then we're out and we're done. Okay. So, Teresa Giacino in themarysue.com. Does this racist and sexist hate on Star Trek Discovery's diversity even though it's still unbalanced in their favor? Okay, whatever. And the problem I have with these articles, like I said, there's several of them, I keep pointing out a bunch of them, is that they have a particular tone. Like, they're not just commenting on these other people's tweets. Like, these other people are commenting on, hey, I just don't think I'm going to like this series, or I don't like the way they're going, or I don't like this tone, actually full-on calling them racists. Racist and sexist. I mean, you're right in your title. The first 3 words in your title, racists and sexists. So that implies to me, you're telling me that you think all of these people who commented on this, and Jesus, did all of you, they pulled the same goddamn, this is so lazy. They pulled the same damn tweets for this one. Not a single unique one for this one. Star Trek Discovery. It's Joshua. Why are you guys picking on Joshua here? He's the one who said, Discovery, Feminism Edition, I love Captain Janeway, but please don't ruin Star Trek with a ton of political correctness. Yeah, that sounds like a racist sexist to me. And the thing that's killing me And here it is. I'm just going to quote right from the article. It always makes me laugh whenever the very people who complain that liberals are too sensitive or that we're seeing injustices where they don't exist are the first people to pitch a fit the slightest hint that maybe white, straight, male, cis, able-bodied, straight-sized people aren't the only people in the world. It doesn't surprise me, but it always makes me laugh. After all, people often project their own behaviors onto others. Am I right? Why, yes, Teresa. I think you are right. I think you're very right. Because I think you're doing that right here. Just lazily grabbing the same tweets everyone else used, calling them sexist and racists because they didn't like a thing and they're concerned about political correctness ruining something. And you're projecting your own biases onto them. So, I think you're doing that, Teresa, and I think you're a hypocrite. I do. I'm going to just post this, and I'm going to put some of the articles I use, the ones I had specifically mentioned in this video, just as a reference below. If you don't believe me, go check them out. Some of these are really annoying. One of them is really long. That's it. I just wanted to comment on that. Like I said, I don't think there's a surge of racism or sexism, for that matter. I don't think that's what's fueling the commentary on Star Trek Discovery. I think there's a lot of bullshit going behind the scenes, and we're seeing very little, and with nothing else to grasp at, people are saying, well, the only thing I'm really seeing is a bunch of politically correct stuff. And not because I think, so far anyway, that Star Trek Discovery is going to be terribly politically correct. I just don't think there's much there. Completely retooling the series, they probably have nothing. Like the little we saw in that video, they probably didn't show that because that's what they wanted to show. They wanted to show that because that's all they freaking had. That's my thought anyway. I'm